everywhere, everything is basically what the book E squared, the 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments that prove that your thoughts create your reality. That's what this book is all about, is that there is this one power, and that we are that power, and that we can use that power. And that we can prove it through doing these experiments. How many have been doing your experiments? Alrighty, because you're all the spiritual scientists, and last week we dubbed everybody to be a spiritual magician by saying abracadabra, which means what? This is a test. Abracadabra means what? Yes, we create as we speak. All together. We create as we speak. So that is so true. Now, E squared is actually a very fun book because it actually emphasizes the 5 basic principles of unity, which, if you don't have the book by Ellen Davenport, you should get the book and read it. In fact, if you were reading at the same time as this, you would go, it parallels. It's just another way to look at the 5 principles, being the first one is what? God is all there is. We are the divine in expression. Our thoughts do what? Create. And what is the prayer is about connecting to that higher power. So today we have a talk title that is in alignment with the unity treasures. I'm calling it Hidden Treasures, because we have hidden treasures within us. So the first hidden treasure is our awareness of the fact that everything is energy. We have that hidden, we could walk around and not understand that everything is energy. This room is filled with energy. Each one of you is emitting energy right here and now. And so knowing that everything is energy, you can feel the energy, you can see the energy of how people are being, and your thoughts and your consciousness are affecting all of the other and giving direction to the energy. Our thoughts and our consciousness give direction to the energy. So today's principle, which is principle number 5, it's our thoughts and our consciousness impact matter, impact material substance. So did you know that your mind is that powerful, that you can actually affect physical things, material matter? Now, there's a story in E squared about Terry McBride, and I think it's a great story, and if you have the book, read it, and we have a couple more books available. We just got them in. But Terry McBride was 22 years old, and he ruptured a disc in his back. So he goes in for surgery, and they're going to fuse his spine, and it's going to be just fine, except that he contracts the E. coli bacteria. And in that process, he gets an infection, and they do surgery, and it doesn't correct it, and the infection continues to spread. He has 8 different surgeries, and they're finally looking at him going, the x-rays are not good, and basically the infection has spread to your abdomen, your pelvis, and now your legs, and you're going to lose a leg, maybe a foot. You'll probably not have any control over your bowels or your bladder. And Terry was like, no, I'm not having that. And so basically, that's what he said. I'm not going there. And he started to talk about that he was a spiritual being. He had been studying some spiritual principles. And so that's what he talks about here is that, well, no, not that one, that one. He says, I decided right then and there that nobody was going to tell me who I was. I decided that very night that no longer was anybody with a fancy badge going to determine my destiny. And so he announced to everybody that I'm going to be able to walk again. I'm going to be whole, perfect, and free by spiritual practices. And they just thought, no, you're dreaming, Terry, stop. And the psychiatrist that he was seeing also said, look at the x-rays. Everybody says you're not going to be able to, you're not curable. and you'll have permanent disability and ongoing surgeries. Terry says, but I'm not my medical records. I'm not my past. There is a power in me. I live in a spiritual universe, and spiritual law can set me free. And he refused to give up. He had 30 major surgeries over the next 11 years. All the while, he continued to affirm health and wholeness was his spiritual identity. Finally, after most of us would have given up, he walked out of the hospital a free and whole, strapping young man. Today, he travels the world speaking about his journey, teaching people the truth about their divine magnificence. He says, we are already free. The infinite power of God will back up our belief in sickness and want, if that's what we choose. But we can also change our beliefs to health, joy, love, and peace. It's time to claim our oneness with God, to step boldly into our lives. You are God, and this is the truth that will set you free. So he demonstrated the power of his thought. And Myrtle Fillmore did the same thing. Once she realized this truth that she was a child of God and didn't inherit sickness, therefore, she started to bless and love her body and talk to her body ongoingly. And it didn't happen overnight. It took 2 years, but she was cured from tuberculosis and a whole bunch of things that were going on that were not going to be curable. So we have a power, and I don't think we really get it. I know I don't. And, there's things like my sinus surgery. Could I have healed it myself? Of course I could have. But I'm not to that part of being able to believe as strongly as our great way shower Jesus did. He didn't see sickness and disease. He saw the perfection in each one of us. I would love to get to that point. I'm working on it. And that's why we're doing this book together. So we are God, and our consciousness affects matter. That is the first hidden treasure that we all have, to believe that we have this power and to practice it. One of the things that Ernest Holmes says, he says in the Science of Mind text, Ernest Holmes is the founder of Science of Mind. One of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. Isn't that the truth? We can know it, but are we practicing it? That is why this book is so valuable, because we're getting to practice things and actually demonstrate them and to realize our power is so much greater than we thought. So we know that our first hidden treasure is this understanding of energy and that we have this power to affect. Would you like to know what your second hidden treasure is? Sure. Jeannie says yes. It's Dear Abby. The Dear Abby principle is your second greatest hidden treasure. Now, what was Dear Abby known for? What? Giving advice. Yes, she was an advice giver. We all are familiar with Dear Abby. And she would give direction and advice to people who were having challenges and problems. And anybody here like to have had times where you were looking for guidance or direction? And the thing is in our world, in our culture, we have been taught to look outside of ourselves for the answers. And when you're little, yeah, I get it, but we start to ingrain that I'm not smart enough, I don't know it, so I'm going to go to this expert. But the truth is, we have all the answers and everything we need to know inside of us. And then we have this conscious mind, which we also are told in our culture, you can figure it out on your own, you're independent. You figure out what that problem is and get the answer. Well, the problem with the conscious mind is that it also is attached to the monkey mind, which we all have. So we think that this is the direction to go in, but then we get the monkey mind going, no, maybe you should go this way. So we don't go anywhere. The key is to go to the Dear Abby inside, okay? You all have this power. And Charles Fillmore breaks up the consciousness into three separate realms. And the first one is our subconscious. The subconscious realm is the storehouse of our memory, and it's our past experiences, our habits, and emotional patterns. And it operates automatically and always affecting our perception until we realize what our hidden beliefs are. So the subconscious mind is always operating, but it's so it's underneath the surface. We also have the thinking mind, the conscious mind, the one that we are objective and always thinking about this or that. And that's the part of us that chooses or reasons and focuses our attention. Then we go to the superconscious mind, which is also called the higher self. I call it God self. It could be the Christ mind or divine mind. And that is when we connect to that power that was within us, that is the power that knows stuff. And I personally do now these practices, and dear God self, I haven't written in a while, but I feel closer to you. I do have some questions. I would like to know what you would like me to know about today, and what is it that we need to do today? What is it I need to know? What is it I need to do? What is it I need to be today? Those are the three: know, do, and be. And I ask God self, and then I say, thank you, God self. I look forward to your answers. I'm always, always surprised by what comes back. I take a moment, take a couple breaths, close my eyes, then I write, and I write, dearest Liz self, thanks for connecting through writing again, although you know we can only be connected because we are one. And then it talks to me, and this was a surprise because I didn't ask it to talk about the country and the shape that we're in. But it says, God self says, I know the government and all that Donald Trump is doing is very disruptive to your soul and many others, as it needs to be. You won't and can't understand what's really happening on a larger level, and I am sorry about that. Life is changing, and it definitely doesn't seem for the better. That's true. There's so much more you don't know and can't even realize now. For now, continue to minimize your time with any news. Be aware, but not more than necessary. Your assignment is to stay present to now, here and now. It's all there is. So stay in the here and now. Be with your people. Continue to call and check in with individuals. Be honest, be open, and let me, the I am, be the lead always. I was not expecting any of that. So that's just one of the examples that I can show you. Now, we're going to move into practice because I have said to you this is a practice you can do. We are going to do it now. How many, did anybody not get the card and a pen? If you don't have a card and a pen, please raise your hand because you're going to get a card and a pen so that we can actually do this practice and not just talk about it. Okay, hands are up, and Debbie's flying around, making sure you get this. So once you get your pen and your card, and there's some people up on the top in the production booth that are looking for cards. Hang on. So when you get your card, you get to start off with saying, Deb, there's also, your hands are, you need more up there? I don't know what you need. Deb, okay. So the rest of you, just to get you an idea where you're going, and you can start this process, but you're going to write dear, and you can, whatever you call spirit, dear higher mind, dear Christ consciousness, dear Jesus, dear whatever it is that you want to call spirit. And then you're writing to spirit a short note. And I would suggest, what is it I need to know about? And if there's something you want to know about specifically, what do I need to know today? Or what do I need to know about my surgery or my health? What do I need to know? Then the next question can be, what is it I need to do regarding this? And then your third question can be, what do I need to be? And once you ask those questions, you give a little thank you to Spirit. Thank you, Divine God Self. I look forward to your answers. And then you sign your name. Then you'll get to take a breath, close your eyes, open your eyes, and then say, Dear, and your name. So for me, it's Dear Liz Self. And then let your God Self, your Spirit, your higher power, write back to you. And please begin. So in awareness of time, wherever you are in your writing, you can put the letters TBC, to be continued. You've started the process. You take the process home with you, and you can pick it back up this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow morning. It's a very powerful practice. So our hidden treasures, there's 3 of them. Number 1 is that we have a power that can affect the energy. The number 2 is that we have guidance that is constantly available as your inner counselor, your universal Christ mind, your dear Abby self, whatever you want to call it. And our third hidden treasure, your third hidden treasure is your ability to believe that the universe is supporting you. And you therefore follow the directions believing that the universe supports you, that you can follow the directions given to you by the higher power. The question becomes, do you believe enough in your hidden treasures to be brave enough to act on that inner wisdom? May it be so, and so it is.